Welcome to 123 from District 123, a podcast that explores and shares the magic happening throughout District 123 schools every day. In each episode, we chat with the people responsible for moving inspired educational ideas from the imagination to the classroom. We dig deeper into those ideas and share the successes from some of the most innovative practices seen throughout Oak Lawn Hometown School District 123. 123 from District 123 is proudly brought to you by the District 123 Ed Foundation. More information about the foundation can be found at d123edfoundation.org. Now here's your host, District 123 Superintendent, Dr. Paul Enderle.
Welcome to 123 from District 123. My name is Paul Enderle. I'm the proud superintendent of Oak Lawn Hometown School District 123. Checking into our most recent podcast here, we want to discuss and spend a little bit of time discussing a very important topic to how a school district functions, and that is what happens and how we remain fiscally responsible with the resources that we're provided to operate our school system and to make sure that we maximize opportunities for our students each day here in School District 123. The 123 podcast is actually a way we format this conversation where we talk about one big idea. The big idea for today is fiscal responsibility. We explore two concepts or actions that stem from that one big idea, and then three outcomes or new ideas that grow from that one initial idea. So we're really proud today to have our Chief School Business Official, our Assistant Superintendent for School Finance, Dr. Mike Lofton, here with us. Mike, welcome to our podcast.
Oh, thanks, Paul.
And Mike is our, as stated, he's our Assistant Superintendent, Chief School Business Official. He's responsible for a lot of the work we do with budgeting and how we go about remaining fiscally responsible here in School District 123. Mike, could you give our audience a little bit of background on yourself?
Sure. I've been with the district now going on 12 years. I've got almost close to 20 years of school administrative experience. And, as you said, my job responsibilities really cover all areas of the business office from, payroll, accounts payable, accounts receivable, but gets into compliance and other sub areas as well.
Yeah, I always see that the school business official is the behind-the-scenes leader in most of our public school systems.
That is accurate.
In School District 123, our strategic plan calls us to advance fiscal productivity by doing a number of things. Making sure that we are remaining within our budgetary limitations, that we use resources efficiently and effectively, that we are transparent with that information with the larger community to make sure people have clear information and that we share financial performance clearly with our entire community, and that we also use data to measure return on investment with what we do in District 123. So I hope to talk a little bit about some of these concepts kind of around this idea of fiduciary responsibility. And just to begin, one element of being fiscally responsible is this idea of balancing our budget. Mm-hmm. And we have had a lot of success over the past decade of ensuring that the budget here in District 123 is balanced each year. Mike, could you share a little bit with the audience about what it means to financially balance a school district budget?
Sure. I always think of it in terms of, like your household budget. If, say you earn $50,000 a year and your expenses for that same year are $50,000, you've got a balanced budget, And usually people consider, hey, if you earn $50,000 and you only spend $48,000, that too would be considered a balanced budget with the extra, $2,000 going into, perhaps savings or retirement or something like that. So much the same way in a school district, we strive to make sure that the tax proceeds that are coming in match our expenses. And if they don't, we take a proactive approach to try to trim down those expenses to make sure that that we are in balance.
Sure.
So going back to when I was first hired, we were experiencing large deficits. A largely unbalanced budget to the tune of over $2 million a year. So that that's a concern because you can't. It's certainly not something you want to automatically transfer over to the taxpayers. So we did take with the board and the community, we took a proactive approach to kind of work slowly to identify areas where we could make cuts, but without harming class size or the programming that was in place, because we didn't want to make cuts too abruptly, because then that can cause problems as well. So.
Okay. And in District 123, we've also absorbed some debt over the years as well that kind of plays into this whole factor as well. Can you talk to us a little bit about how that debt is structured and how that debt within a school system works?
Sure. Most school district debt runs for about 20 years. You certainly could sometimes pay it back faster if you wanted to, but a typical debt schedule is 20 years out. So in 2007, that was the last large debt that was issued by the district that is set to expire in 2027. And it's sizable. That at the time that was that was the action that was taken to kind of keep the district afloat. But I think that paired with some of the cost containment measures that we took, I think that really helped us to maintain our solvency and,
Sure.
and good fiscal practice in all these years since 2007.
Yeah, so one of the things that, like, when we look at and compare a school budget to a home budget that could be a little bit different is sometimes as we manage our own personal money or our home budgets, sometimes we try to sock some money away and save it a little bit, and as school systems, we want to make sure that we are efficiently using the resources given to us without overspending.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's something that, certainly on my, or at least in the back of my mind every single day, whenever, various problems happen or initiatives come up, it's always kind of looking at, balancing, those with the amount of money that we have coming in and being mindful to not take on additional, or not, the desire, I think, from the board down to not take on any additional debt,
Sure.
It's 100% necessary.
Yeah. Another way that we look to be responsible with and really good stewards of the resources we obtain from the community is to really look at this concept of return on investment and to make sure that when we invest in something, whether it be something material like a set of computers, whether it be renovating a space, whether it be adding curricular materials, at a certain grade or grade level, we want to make sure that those things that we're purchasing and prioritizing are things that we study. They're built on good research, that we've spent some time maybe practicing a little bit with staff. But ultimately, once those things are brought into the system, we want to make sure that we're getting our return on investment. Mm-hmm. And I know recently we've jumped into this with some of our reading interventions. Coming from the pandemic, we, like many districts, have suffered certain levels of learning loss, and we want to be really targeted and smart in the way that we're offering students who have seen some learning loss get support that they need to help accelerate that learning and get them kind of back on track to where they were prior to the pandemic and even go beyond that. And one of the ways we do that is we offer some of our students reading or mathematics interventions. So one of the areas that we're looking at now to do kind of a return on investment study is with some of our reading interventions. How does that work? How does that look?
Sure.
In a very general way.
Yeah. Well, to start, I just want to say that this is an area that I'm kind of excited about, because in public education, actually I think in government in general, oftentimes initiatives are launched, and they sometimes can be evaluated, but it's more of a superficial evaluation, and then there isn't a kind of a deep dive into whether or not the students or the community or whoever you're serving is getting the biggest bang for the buck that you're putting out, and in some cases putting out year after year after year. For us, I know the Reading Recovery Program, there were some questions raised at towards the end of last school year, where there was some national research that was published that came to the conclusion that there were concerns that this reading program maybe didn't have the desired outcomes that we all in good faith assumed were being realized. And again, nothing. This isn't talking or has nothing to do with the people involved with the program.
Sure.
It was really looking at the program itself and how the instruction is being implemented. So with that said, we decided to look at our own program that's been in place for, I think, 20 years, maybe longer. It's been with the district, and we just wanted to see, objectively, whether or not we are getting a return on the program itself. I know that the reading recovery, again, I'm certainly no expert on this, but the reading recovery is more of a kind of a one-to-one intervention. Small. So the staffing is pretty intensive compared to other approaches.
Right.
So that's something we wanted to look at as well. So we did engage with a company called the ECRA Group that we already have a relationship with, and they're going to help us take existing student data and match that up, and using kind of complex statistical analysis to see, hey, are these gains number one happening? Are they resilient gains? Are these gains like sticking with the student? Is the student showing improvement year after year? Things like that. So yeah, we are still waiting. That analysis is ongoing,
Takes
but
time.
we are excited to get the results and see. I think if it looks like we are getting strong results, I mean, it certainly indicates let's continue on, and then if not, we can take actions as well to maybe look at a different program that maybe has a different approach and kind of go from there, and then evaluate that new program as well. So it is something that's exciting and something that we hope to expand on in the future.
Yeah, no, that sounds great. So efforts taken to kind of balance the revenue that is received with the expenditures that a district uses on a yearly or an annual basis. Making sure that we're measuring using data our return on investment over the number of the items that are purchased and used in the district. I know a lot of what you do, Mike, rests in some fiscal projecting and forecasting, as well. That could be very variable, in nature, that we have to keep kind of a strong eye on. And we've been really fortunate in District 123. As we mentioned, we've been able to balance our budget, I think, for the past 8 or 9 years, and we've also seen some positive ratings from the Illinois State Board of Education. And every public school system in the state of Illinois is rated on a 4-point scale from the state of Illinois. And here in District 123, we've pretty consistently been reaching that highest recognition status in the state. And I think that's a great way to, again, demonstrate the level of priority we give to budgeting and to being mindful of forecasting finances in the district, but which leads itself to demonstrating, responsibility. So can you speak a little bit to that rating scale and in how those ratings are provided to school systems?
Yeah, the Illinois School Board of Education, they look at all 800 plus school districts in the state and annually use audited data to compile a ranking and a 4, kind of a 1 in 4 rating that's applied. Yeah. And it's nothing I'm directly involved in or you're involved in. It's 100% objective. And really the criteria have to do with, how steady the revenue source is, and as we spoke about earlier, is your budget balanced? And if so, to what degree is it balanced? What is your surpluses? Or if the opposite is true, what are those deficits each year? And, the worse or better, those metrics come out, that all kind of gets fed into this rating, and fund balances as well. That also, which when I say fund balance, that's in essence the accessible savings that the district has in the bank. That the more you have, the better off. I'm happy to report that past I believe 8 years and going on 9, hopefully here with our next audited financial report. We've been at the highest rating, the financial recognition rating, which is something that we're really proud of. And I do present to the board each year when we do get the new ratings, kind of a 20-year history, because I think it's important to look at that overall rating and where we've been. And earlier on in the early 2000s, the district it wasn't doing very good, at least under those metrics. Yeah. They were on Financial Review. Even on Financial Watch for a year, I believe. So, those are the two lower categories.
Sure.
And certainly red flags for school boards and for the community. But I'm happy to report, that we've been on a strong track, and it is nice to have kind of this independent voice to say, you're doing okay.
Yeah.
You're doing well financially, and I think for the board as well. It's not just me saying it. It's not you saying it. It's,
certainly.
It's the Illinois State School Board saying it.
Absolutely. And, there are implications to, you'd mentioned some, in years past, some deficit spending, the issuing of debt. One of the potential negative implications is a reduction in credit rating that a district could face. And that's something that here in District 123 we faced. Could you speak a little bit to that story of what we experienced years ago and how our credit rating dropped, and just some of the steps that because we took some very intentional steps to help build that credit rating back after it fell slightly.
Sure. Yeah, we every 2 years we get a rating from Moody's Investment Services and then also S&P Investment Services. They, in essence, provide, it's almost like a credit rating. Again, to make an analogy to the URI, it involves looking mostly at your audited financial statements. They're kind of combing through those and looking for any examples where maybe the financial condition is taking a turn closer to the worse or better, and then that would all be noted. But in the end, it's really these are reports that go out to the investors that have bought our prior debt. Municipal bondholders that have this, and that Moody's and S&P in essence provide they sound the alarm if there is any concerns that might indicate that the individual bondholders, or in some cases institutional bondholders of District 123 debt, need to be concerned that those returns might be compromised, or there might be an issue with funding. So, again, I'm happy to report that we've taken action to upgrade our ratings with Moody's. Certainly, I believe Moody's historically was a notch below the S&P rating. They each have their own independent rating scales that there's a table you can Google that shows kind of you can convert back and forth. Yeah. It's kind of like Celsius and Fahrenheit. So Moody's always had us a notch below where the S&P rating was, but that it's been probably 4 or 5 years now since Moody's did upgrade us. So we're at the I believe it's A3 rating. So it's an improvement. There's a whole range. I mean, some of the districts that I think by paying off debt, that's probably going to be the next milestone that we're going to reach that would indicate a rating increase. That's set for the 2027-2028 school year. But again, it's another area where we're proud that our ratings have
Sure.
reflected the hard work that all of us have undertaken to improve our financial situation.
Yeah, I mean, balancing the budget, making sure your fund balance isn't dropping each year, ensuring that you are paying off your debt. And then I know the board and the district worked together a number of years ago when we wanted to start looking at intentional ways to build up our credit rating. As we actually worked with the Board of Ed to develop a board policy on fund balance as well as on debt management.
Yeah, that was an area where our financial advisors said if you want your rating to go up, kind of an easy way is to formalize a policy that says, hey, we want to have at least a 25% fund balance, which 25% equates to roughly 3 months of our expenses, in the bank. And again, I mean, I keep kind of comparing back to the average citizen, but if you listen to any personal financial advisors, they always tell you, have 6 months in the bank,
Sure.
and have more if you can, because it's just kind of a rainy day fund, and if anything happens to your job, you're better able to weather that storm. So yeah, we started with that board policy. Now we're closer to 40% fund balance. We've never dropped below that 25%.
Sure.
So again, it's just, I think it gives debt holders of our district confidence that we are that we're well managed, and that we are conservative, and that we are trying to do everything we can to make sure that the district runs smoothly, and financially we're on stable ground.
Yeah. I think to add to this very positive story and this lesson in many ways of fiscal responsibility and transparency, you have worked with your team in the business office to obviously not only do all of these layered things to help advance your finances in the district and make sure that we are on solid ground, so that we can move forward and do innovative things and really support student learning in a way that is sustainable, because it's not just about balancing the budget in a singular year. It's really this idea of making sure that 10, 15, 20 years from now, the district's really in a stable financial position. You've also worked to our practices have been recognized through a number of awards. We as a district, we've you speak a little bit about the MBA, the Meritorious Budget Award, along with an award that we've received recently, the Certificate of Excellence, and maybe speak a little bit to some of the ideas behind those awards and why we pursue them, and what being a part of those processes help us to do to kind of maintain fiduciary responsibility.
Sure. Yeah. The first award is the Meritorious Budget Award, or MBA for short, and that's really looks at how you communicate your budget each year, to the community, to the school board, to staff, to really anybody that's interested. So the Association of School Business Officials, they provide a template, basically. And it's a rough template. It doesn't, prescribe every, bit of information that you have to give, but it kind of gives you an area of focus. And, it's something that we've been putting out now for 7 or 8 years. And it's very helpful for certainly new board members. I find it's a good document to kind of explain where we're at, and how we got there. And
it's a good summary.
It starts with an executive summary, and it's kind of an interesting, start. But and then it gets into progressively deeper, subject areas, and there's information for anybody. If you want to take a deep dive into an individual fund of the district, you can do that. All that data is right there. Or if you are seeking more of an overview, it's also available.
So the MBA process, the Meritorious Budget approach, really helps serve almost as a template of excellence for financial transparency. If a district wants to be transparent with information about their finances, following this process and really attaining this level of excellence is something that could help, kind of, solidify or quantify the fact that a district is being transparent.
Mm-hmm. It is. It's a best practice.
Yeah.
That we've been engaging in, and it is reviewed. There's a team of business managers in other school districts across the nation, actually across the world. I believe there's even others in Canada and beyond that are randomly assigned to groups. They review, and they give, it's a pretty detailed list of comments. So it's kind of also a continuous improvement document where,
Sure.
Every year we're making changes to it, we're tweaking it, we're trying to make it, better for everybody who's interested in the finances of the district.
And the Certificate of Excellence, how does it differ?
Certificate of Excellence, that's awarded for your comprehensive annual financial reporting, which is, so the budget is kind of the projection of what you think you're going to spend and what you think you're going to take in for the upcoming school year. Certificate of Excellence applies for the audited, financials. So that's actually what you did spend, and what was verified by an outside auditing firm. But other than that, it's very similar.
Yeah.
It's reviewed by a committee. They make suggestions, and you're required to implement the suggestions. Sure. For the next round. And you just continuously kind of hone this document to make it better and better and more accessible to the community. But it's a little bit different format. But it has a lot of historical data, and like I said, same logic applies to the COE as would the MBA. It's kind of something's there for anybody and everybody. If you just want kind of a quick assurance that, hey, how are my tax dollars being spent, and where are the major categories where they're going, you can get that data. But if you want to really hone into, some really specific, almost line item by line item data, it's all there too.
Excellent. Well, Dr. Lofton, I want to thank you for joining our podcast today and sharing some insight and perspective over some of the steps that we've taken as a school system over much of the past, well over the past decade, to ensure that we're being fiscally responsible with and good stewards of the resources that our community so gratefully provides to us. And we thank you for sharing some of these ideas.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. And that being said, I do want to let everyone out there know that our 123 podcast from District 123 is proudly brought to you by our District 123 Ed Foundation. For more information on the District Ed Foundation, please feel free to visit the Ed Foundation website at d123edfoundation.org. That being said, I want to thank everyone for listening today. We will be back with you with another podcast soon, but I want to thank you for listening to 123 in School District 123. And until next time, remember, when we believe, our kids succeed. Thank you.